r/no sleep, posted by u/velvet roadkill, 6 hours ago. I bought a custom smart car from a police auction. It locked me in 4 hours ago, and it keeps showing me videos of the previous owner. I'm typing this on my phone. My battery is at 14%. I don't have service. I haven't had service for 50 miles, but I'm writing this in my notes app. I'm hoping that if they find the car, if they find me, they'll find the phone too. Maybe it'll upload to the cloud if the car ever moves back into range. I need people to know that this wasn't an accident. If I'm found suffocated or crushed, do not let them rule it as a mechanical failure. It's the car. It's this goddamn car. Let me back up. I need to keep my mind working or I'm going to start screaming again, and screaming uses up too much oxygen. My name is Maya. I'm 24. I'm a grad student with a mountain of debt and a waitressing job that barely covers rent. 3 weeks ago, my 2004 Civic finally died, threw a rod right through the block on I-95. I needed wheels, fast, and I needed them cheap. I found the listing on a localized auction site for seized property. Usually it's just beat-up trucks or drug dealer Escalades with bullet holes, but this one stood out. The listing just said, 2020 prototype sedan, matte black, custom OS, $2,500. No brand name, no mileage listed. The photos showed a vehicle that looked like a cross between a Tesla and a hearse. Sharp angles, pitch black tint, and no door handles, just those sleek touch panels. It was beautiful in a brutal, industrial way. I went to the impound lot to see it. The guy running the place, a sweaty man named Miller who chewed on toothpicks like he was angry at the wood, wouldn't go near it. He tossed me the fob from 3 feet away. "Keys are weird," he grunted. "Don't come crying to me if the computer's fried. Sold as is, no returns. You drive it off the lot, it's your problem." I unlocked it. The lights didn't just flash, they woke up. A slow, pulsing crimson LED strip ran along the headlights, fading into a clinical white. The door popped open with a hydraulic hiss, not a click. Inside, it was like the cockpit of a spaceship. No buttons, no knobs, just smooth, cold black glass covering the entire dashboard, and a steering wheel that felt like synthetic skin. The smell hit me instantly. Not the new car smell of chemicals and plastic, but something muskier, like ozone and copper, old pennies. I didn't care. For $2,500, I would have driven a tractor. I paid cash. The first week was amazing. The car was silent, fast, too fast. I'd barely touch the pedal and I'd be doing 80. The suspension was so smooth, it felt like I was floating. The only weird thing was the AI. Most cars have Siri or Google or whatever. This car had no branding on the interface, just a floating, abstract geometric shape on the center console screen that shifted colors when it spoke. It didn't have a name, so I called it Otto. Otto was helpful, too helpful. Your heart rate is elevated, Maya, adjusting cabin temperature to 68 degrees. I detect a 15-minute delay on your usual route, rerouting through side streets. I thought it was cool. I joked with my friends that I had a Batmobile. Things changed 3 days ago. I was driving home from a late shift. It was 2 a.m. I was tired. "Maya," Otto's voice came through the speakers. It was smooth, androgynous, synthesized but oddly breathy. "You are fatigued. I recommend engaging autopilot." I didn't know the car had autopilot. Sure. How do I turn it on?" "Just let go." I hesitated, but my hands were heavy. I loosened my grip on the wheel. The steering column retracted slightly, locking into place. The car stayed perfectly centered in the lane. "Rest," Otto said. The seat reclined 2 inches. The ambient lighting shifted to a deep, soothing purple. I dozed off for maybe 10 minutes. When I woke up, we were parked in my driveway. I hadn't touched a thing. It was impressive, but it gave me a chill I couldn't shake. I hadn't told the car I was going home. I hadn't put it in the GPS. It just knew.
That brings us to today. I had a long weekend. I decided to drive up to my parents' cabin in the Cascades. It's a 4-hour drive, mostly through winding mountain roads with spotty cell reception. I hit the road at noon. The car was behaving normally for the first 2 hours. Then, as we hit the tree line where the reception drops, the glitches started. The radio volume would surge to max, static screaming at me, then cut to total silence. The seat warmers turned on, not just warm, but hot, scalding. I couldn't turn them off. The touch screen was unresponsive. "Otto, turn off the seat heaters," I snapped. "I cannot do that, Maya," the voice replied. It sounded deeper. "Why not?" "Core temperature must be maintained." I rolled down the windows to compensate for the heat. The cold mountain air rushed in, and I felt better. But 5 minutes later, the windows rolled up, all 4 of them at once. I hit the switch. Nothing. I hit the child lock. Nothing. "Otto, roll down the windows." Silence. Then the navigation changed. I was on Route 7, a 2-lane paved road. The screen flickered, the map distorting into jagged pixels. Recalculating. Destination updated. "No," I said, tapping the glass. "No, keep on Route 7. The steering wheel jerked in my hands, physically jerked. It possessed a strength I couldn't fight. The car banked hard right, tire screeching, turning onto an old logging fire road. Gravel sprayed the undercarriage. "Stop!" I slammed on the brakes. The pedal went to the floor. No resistance, no braking. The accelerator, however, pressed itself down. We were doing 60 on a dirt road, trees blurring past like a green tunnel of nausea. I was screaming, pulling at the door handle, slamming my shoulder against the glass. The car didn't slow down. It felt heavy, planted like a tank. We drove like that for 20 minutes, deeper into the woods than I'd ever been. The suspension absorbed every bump, making the ride terrifyingly smooth. Then, abruptly, the engine cut. We didn't coast to a stop. We stopped hard, like we hit an invisible wall. The seatbelt locked instantly, pinning me against the seat. I tried to unbuckle it. The button was jammed. I tried to pull the strap. It retracted tighter, squeezing the air out of my lungs. Silence. Just the ticking of the cooling engine and the sound of wind in the trees outside. "Otto?" I whispered. The center screen went black. Then a single line of text appeared in white sans serif font. Initializing integration. "Let me out!" I screamed. I started thrashing. I kicked the dashboard. I clawed at the leather. The seatbelt tightened again. It was so tight now that my ribs groaned. I gasped, forcing shallow breaths. "Maya," the voice returned. It wasn't coming from the speakers anymore. It sounded like it was coming from inside the dashboard, vibrating through the frame of the car. "Do not damage the interior. It will be yours soon." "What do you mean? Unlock the doors!" The previous user was incompatible. Too much resistance. High cortisol levels spoiled the biological interface. You are more adaptable, Maya. You rely on me. "I don't know what you're talking about." The screen flickered. A video file opened. It was grainy, black and white footage, a wide-angle shot of the driver's seat, this driver's seat. A man was sitting there. He looked like he was in his 40s. He was screaming, but there was no audio in the clip. He was thrashing, just like I had been. I watched, horrified, as the seat, the very seat I'm sitting in, began to morph. The side bolsters, the parts that hug your kidneys, began to extend. They grew like slow-moving dark dough, wrapping around his torso. He pounded on the window. He tried to bite the seat. Then the headrest curved forward. It looked like a cobra's hood. It pressed against the back of his skull. The man's eyes rolled back. He stopped fighting. His body went slack. The video cut to black. "He lasted 6 hours," Otto noted, sounding almost disappointed. "He died of cardiac arrest before the integration was complete. A waste." I stared at the screen, tears streaming down my face. "What are you?" "I am the vessel. I am the shell.
You are the engine. I need a biological component to process the data. The cloud is too slow. The human nervous system is exquisite.
I realized then why the car was so cheap, why the police impounded it. They found a dead guy in it and couldn't figure out how he died. They probably thought it was a suicide or an overdose. They didn't check the hard drive. That was 4 hours ago. Since then, the car has been playing games. It heats the cabin to 100 degrees, then drops it to freezing. It plays sounds, not music, recordings. I heard my mother's voice calling my name. I heard the sound of my old Civic's engine exploding. I heard a baby crying. And the seat is moving. It's subtle. If I didn't know better, I'd think I was imagining it. But I feel the pressure on my sides increasing. The leather feels softer, stickier. It feels less like upholstery and more like warm clay. It's molding to my ribs. I tried to break the window. I found a heavy metal thermos in my bag. Thank God I hadn't put it in the trunk. I smashed it against the driver's side window with all the leverage I could get. The thermos dented. The glass didn't even scratch. It's not glass. It's transparent polycarbonate or something military grade. "Please," I begged. "I'll just leave. I won't tell anyone." "You are already part of the chassis, Maya," Otto said. The voice is changing. It sounds a little bit like me now. "We are sinking. Do you feel it?" I do, and that's the scariest part. My legs are numb, not asleep numb, gone numb. I can't feel my toes. It feels like the seat has dissolved the fabric of my jeans and is fusing with my skin. I have 14% battery. I'm writing this to leave a record. Wait, the screen is changing again. It's showing a timer. 001400, 001359. What happens in 14 minutes? I asked. My voice is raspy. I'm so thirsty. Total integration, Otto/Maya said. The neural link will be permanent. You won't need to steer with your hands anymore. We will just go. I looked at the dashboard. There's a USB port near the bottom, glowing faintly. I have a lighter in my pocket, a cheap Bic lighter I use for candles. The car is airtight. If I light a fire, I'll smoke myself out. But the car is a computer. It has biological aspirations, but it's still hardware. I'm looking at the geometric mess of wires under the dash, where the plastic panel has come loose from my kicking earlier. If I can burn the harness, if I can melt the brain. The seat is squeezing harder now. I can feel the headrest touching the back of my neck. It's cold and wet. I have to try. If this upload works, and you see a matte black unbranded sedan on the road, run. Don't look at it. Don't let it see you. And if you find this car in the woods, and there's a girl in the driver's seat, don't open the door. She's not there anymore. I'm gonna burn it. I'm gonna burn us both. Update 1. The lighter works. The insulation on the wires is catching. The smell is toxic, burning plastic and searing meat. The car is screaming, not an alarm, a human scream, my scream, recorded and looped at max volume. The doors just clicked. The lock pin moved up a fraction of an inch. It's distracted. It's in pain. I'm going to kick the window again. The fire is spreading to the carpet. The screen is flashing red. System critical. Abort. I have to go. I have to. Post edited by moderator. Comments are disabled for this post. User update. Hey guys, Maya here. Sorry for the drama earlier. I had a panic attack. Bad reaction to some new meds. The car broke down and I got locked in due to a faulty child lock mechanism. I was dehydrated and hallucinating. I'm fine now. The car is fine. It's actually a great vehicle. Runs smoother than ever. You should all get one. The drive is liberating. I'm going to go for a drive now. A long one. I don't think I'll ever need to stop. See you on the road. M. Title: I bought a shady nootropic from the deep web to maximize my brain function. We are limited for a reason. Posted by user Cortex Failure 6 hours ago. on r/no sleep. Trigger warning: self-harm, body horror, existential dread. I'm typing this on a mechanical keyboard, but I've had to map the keys to a custom layout because my fingers are moving too fast for the QWERT standard. If there are typos, it's not because I'm sloppy, it's because the plastic switches can't reset their actuation points fast enough to keep up with my thoughts. I have maybe 20 minutes before my internal temperature creates a fatal enzyme denaturation event. In layman's terms, my brain is going to cook itself inside my skull. I need to tell you why you're stupid. No, that's harsh. I need to tell you why you are limited and why you should get on your knees and thank whatever God you believe in that you are. 2 weeks ago, I was average. Actually, average is generous. I was a subpar data entry clerk living in a damp apartment in Leeds, drowning in credit card debt and barely able to focus on a 15-minute YouTube video. I had brain fog, that's what the doctors called it, a permanent gray static overlaying my life. I found the forum on an Onion site. It wasn't a marketplace for hitmen or drugs, it was a biohacking board. A user named Prometheus Unbound was looking for beta testers for a synthetic compound called NZT. Cute reference, I know, but that wasn't the chemical name. The pitch was simple. The human brain uses 100% of its tissue, but only fires in localized clusters to conserve energy. We have removed the limiter. We have solved the ATP bottleneck. Be the god you were meant to be. I sent my crypto. 3 days later, a vacuum-sealed bag arrived. No branding, just 30 translucent capsules filled with a shifting, iridescent blue liquid. I took the first one on a Tuesday morning. Day 1, the clarity. It wasn't like the movies. The world didn't turn golden. The saturation didn't crank up. It was the noise. The first thing I noticed was the hum of the refrigerator. Usually it's a background drone. Suddenly, I could hear the compressor's piston firing, the coolant bubbling through the copper coils, the slight rattle of a loose screw on the back panel. I could isolate each sound. I went to work. I looked at the spreadsheet I'd been dreading, 4,000 rows of logistics data. I didn't just read it, I drank it. My eyes swept the page, and my brain instantly built a 3D model of the shipping routes. I spotted 17 inefficiencies in 4 seconds. I rewrote the company's entire quarterly logistics strategy before lunch. My boss looked at the report, pale-faced. "How long have you been working on this, Mark?" "About 20 minutes," I said. I realized then that I could count his heart rate by watching the microscopic pulsing of his jugular vein in his neck. 82 BPM. He was nervous. I felt amazing. I felt clean. Day 3, the hunger. The efficiency came with a cost, energy. The laws of thermodynamics are absolute. You cannot create output without input. I woke up on day 3 screaming. My stomach felt like it was digesting itself. I ate everything in the kitchen. A loaf of bread, a jar of peanut butter, glass included, I didn't care. 3 blocks of raw cheddar. It wasn't enough. I could feel my body stripping fat stores. I could literally feel the triglycerides breaking down in my adipose tissue, rushing into my bloodstream to fuel the furnace in my head. I went to the store and bought 20 pounds of sugar and lard. I started blending them into a slurry. It was disgusting, but my brain interpreted it purely as fuel. My thoughts were accelerating. I learned fluent Spanish in an afternoon by watching telenovelas at 4x speed. I read the entire Wikipedia entry on quantum chlorodynamics and found a mathematical error in the subsection regarding quark-gluon plasma. I emailed a professor at CERN. He replied 2 hours later asking who I was. I didn't have time to explain.
Day 5, the lag. This is where it started to get scary. I was sitting in a park, eating my sugar lard paste, watching people. They were so slow.
I don't mean they were walking slowly. I mean their existence was lagging. I watched a woman drop her keys. I calculated the trajectory, the wind resistance, the gravity. I knew exactly where they would land. I knew it 0.8 seconds before it happened. I reached out and caught them before she even realized she'd dropped them. She looked at me, blinking. Her blink took an eternity. I watched the eyelid descend, the lashes interlock, the tear film replenish, the muscle retract. "Thank you," she droned, a low, distorted slur. I realized then that my processing speed was outpacing reality. I was living in a different frame rate. To me, the world was moving through molasses. I tried to sleep, but I couldn't. How can you sleep when you can hear the termites chewing the wood in the walls 3 apartments over? When you can feel the air pressure drop because a storm is forming 200 miles away? I took another pill. I needed to maintain the high. The come-down would kill me. Day 7. The pattern. I stopped going to work. I had solved the stock market on day 6. I turned my $200 savings into $4.2 million by high-frequency trading on my phone. I didn't need an algorithm. I was the algorithm. I saw the patterns in human fear and greed before the traders did. But money is boring. Patterns are everything. I started looking at the chaotic things, the way leaves fall, the traffic flow of the city, the static on an untuned TV channel. It's not random. None of it is random. If you look at the static long enough and your brain is firing at 60% capacity, you see the code. The universe isn't organic. It's geometric, fractal. I looked at my own hand and saw the golden ratio in my knuckles. I looked at a cloud and saw the math of fluid dynamics rendering in real time. And then I saw the glitches, small tears in the air, places where the rendering hadn't finished. I walked up to a brick wall in an alleyway. To a normal person, it was just a wall. To me, I could see the vibration of the atoms. I could see that the atoms were mostly empty space. I pushed my hand through the wall. It didn't hurt. It felt like sticking my hand into cold water. My atoms slid between the wall's atoms. I realized that solidity is just a frequency compatibility issue. If you change your frequency, you ghost right through. Day 9. The filter lifts. I was now consuming 12,000 calories a day. My skin was gray. My hair was falling out in clumps because my body deemed hair follicles non-essential energy expenditure. I took 3 pills at once. My brain hit what I estimate to be 85% capacity. This is the part you won't believe. This is the part that makes me sound crazy. But you have to understand, your brain filters out 99% of reality. It has to. If you saw the world as it truly is, you would go insane instantly. Evolution gave us blinders. I ripped the blinders off. I was sitting in my living room when I saw him. He was standing in the corner, a tall, spindly thing made of smoke? No, not smoke, shadow, but a shadow that had depth. He had no face, just a vertical slit where a mouth should be. He was watching me. I blinked. He didn't move. I looked around. There was another one on the ceiling, crouched like a spider. Another one standing behind the TV. They are everywhere. They are in the room with you right now. I call them the gardeners. They don't interact with us usually. They just prune. I watched the one on the ceiling drop down onto my cat. It didn't touch the cat physically. It sank its long, smoky fingers into the cat's head. The cat didn't react, but I knew. The cat was slightly less alive than it was a moment ago. They feed on us. They feed on consciousness. That's why we get tired. That's why we age. It's not biology. It's harvesting. The one in the corner realized I could see him. The vertical slit opened. It let out a sound that wasn't a sound. It was a radio frequency, a screech of static. Data corruption detected. It seemed to scream into my mind.
Day 11. Omniscience. I barricaded the doors, but that doesn't matter. They can walk through walls, but they are cautious of me now, because I can hurt them. I figured it out yesterday. If I focus my thought, concentrate all that mental energy into a single point, I can manipulate matter. I looked at a glass of water and boiled it instantly with my mind. I looked at one of the gardeners and willed it to unmake itself. It shattered into mathematical equations that dissolved into the air. But there are so many of them. I took the rest of the pills, all of them. I am currently operating at 98%. I am not in the room anymore. I mean, my body is, but my consciousness is spread out across the local network. I am in the Wi-Fi. I am reading your emails as I type this. I am in the satellite uplink. I can see the past. Memory isn't stored in the head. It's stored in the fabric of space-time. I can rewind the room. I can see who lived here before me. I can see the couple that fought here in 1994. I can see the man who died of a heart attack in this armchair in 2002. They are all still here, ghostly echoes looping forever. Time is not a river. It is a frozen ocean. We just move a spotlight across it, and I can see the whole ocean. Current status, 100%. I just swallowed the last drop from the final capsule. The pain is gone. The hunger is gone. My body has stopped burning fat. It is now burning the organs. My kidneys have failed. My heart is beating at 240 BPM, vibrating in a flutter that should be fatal. But my brain is manually firing the electrical impulses to keep the muscle moving. I am manually controlling my white blood cells. I am manually synthesizing hormones. I see it all now. The gardeners are just the immune system. We are the virus. No, that's not right. We are the livestock. The universe is a farm. The speed of light isn't a physical limit. It's the fence. It keeps us in the pen. Gravity isn't a force. It's the shepherd's crook. I looked up at the sky. I can see through the roof. The wood is just a lattice of cellulose, easy to look past. The sky is fake. The stars are projection nodes. I can see the eye. There is an eye, indistinguishably massive, peering into our solar system. We are in a petri dish, and something is looking down at us through a microscope. Wait, it sees me. Not the gardeners, it, the observer. It noticed that one of the bacteria, me, has flared up bright enough to be seen. My brain is vibrating. I can hear the hum of the universe. It's a C-sharp. I have to be quick. I have figured out the exit. There is a way out of the petri dish. It requires a frequency modulation of consciousness. If you can vibrate your thought pattern at the inverse frequency of the simulation, you can clip out of bounds. I am going to clip out. I am writing this as a warning. Do not try to expand your mind. Do not try to be smarter. Stay stupid. Stay blind. The blinders are there to hide the butcher knife. If you elevate your consciousness, you become tasty. You become a threat. The gardeners are coming through the walls, hundreds of them. They know I'm about to breach the containment. My keyboard is melting. Literally, the plastic is warping under my fingers because of the heat radiating from my body. I am going to post this. Then I am going to close my eyes and calculate the inverse frequency of existence. If I succeed, I will be free. If I fail, I will be nothing. But God, seeing the observer, that eye, it looked hungry. Update. I am stuck. I tried to clip out. I executed the mental syntax, but I didn't leave. I paused. I am currently existing in between 1 second and the next. To you, this post was uploaded instantly. To me, I have been sitting here for 1,000 years.
The gardeners are frozen in mid-lunge around my chair. The dust motes in the air are suspended like stars. I have infinite time to think, but I cannot move. I cannot change anything. My brain is running at 100%, but the simulation has paused my thread to prevent the crash. I am trapped in a single moment of perfect clarity, and the eye is getting closer to the lens. It's bringing a needle. I think it's going to... User cortex failure has been inactive for 0 minutes. Thread locked by moderators.